Yeah, and that's hygiene problems. And
Dealt with the futures, like change.
so,
When it comes to meeting the quarter, first item of no citizen comments, all right, we do have a record number of votes on the call here with us. If you would, just tell us your name and which organization you're with. Hannah?
All right, I'm sorry, my name is Hannah Warner and I'm with George Power Workforce.
Cole Kaminsky, I work with Kubota Manufacturing and I work in recruiting.
My name's Jacob Beecham. I work at Strickland Williams Financial Group, financial advisor there.
Chris Craddock with Craddock Insurance, property casualty lead.
I'm Anna Hester with the Greater Hall Chamber of Commerce over the Vision 2030 programs.
All right, welcome y'all. Hopefully this will be a brief meeting. I'd like to entertain a motion to adopt the agenda.
I'd like to make a motion that we adopt Roman numeral 3 and 4.
second,
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Norwell, a second by Dr. Ramsey. All those in favor, motion carries. All right. Mrs. Tyler, you're on the board, to tell us about the GNET's future site.
Absolutely. So I'm excited today to announce the partnership that we have formed with our future site. Currently, our students are served at a site in Cornelia, which is about 25 miles away. You can imagine it's a significant toll on our students, our parents, and our transportation. It's about a 2-hour round trip, which pick everybody up and go up there, and then 2 hours back home too. So our students were struggling with that. It's hard for parents to get out there to be able to access their kids if they're sick, if they need to pick them up for any other reason. If the school has an event in the evenings, it's really difficult for them to get up there. So we have partnered with neighboring districts as well as teachers to bring a center closer to here that'll serve about 50 students. It'll put them back in our community. It'll keep them closer to our school buildings. It'll be less of a burden on our parents for them to have to travel to go get their children closer to home. We're going to house it at the satellite office. It was there many years ago. It's going to be back in the same location, but it was there once before, and they're excited to be able to access that space. Answer any questions?
Part of the reasoning as well, and Tim Proctor, Executive Director of Pine Ridge is here, which they basically manage the GNET's Futures program, and the Cornelia site continues to run out of space. And so Hall County and Dawson County will be joining with us, in which those two districts will be housed here. There will be some upfront costs that comes out to about $25,000 per district that would be billing them. Some of the work has already been completed by Reverend Miles in the M&O department. But basically, there will be also a quarterly rental fee that that Futures will be paying us to lease the space. It is not, there's no increased cost for the Futures program overall. We will see some revenue out of it, which we haven't seen in the past. And there's just a couple of things up front. For example, there has to be a playground. So there'll be a playground in the back, very small playground, but fence around it. But also just some of the safety precautions. There has to be a washer and dryer and a shower and some things that just some upfront costs that we've got to do to make all that connect. So if you're on that 400 hallway, which is where Horizon was last year, you may be wondering like how we're able to put kids in there. And if you remember, we can put programs in that building, but we can't put schools. So the state always encourages us to use facilities to house programs. And there's a couple of districts now, Hall and Dawson, whose kids do not go to Cornelia because it is too long of a ride. And we start to run into some lawsuit challenges at the state level, where this helps alleviate some of those lawsuits that have been lingering for a while.
And I'll also note that we don't have to manage this program or run this program in any way. It's completely managed by the Futures program and GNETs. We're just simply giving them the space.
and this is in the Maclean Center.
Now, do you know how many students would be going to Gainesville that we would contribute to?
No more than 50 total. We right now have about 11.
About 15.
So up to, there's some kids now that there's not enough space at Cornelia that we would probably need to send or would be able to send, but there's just not space. So by having it here, there's going to be a little bit more not necessarily local control, but just more flexibility in serving the 3 districts versus right now. Tim, how many districts are serving that Cornelia site?
Everybody but their mountain districts.
Yeah, so that means you've got, Hart County, Banks County, Gainesville, Hall, Dawson, White, Habersham, Stevens, they're all going to one site now. This just allows us to pull some of that off.
And anything, like any costs associated with maintenance of facilities or things like that would be offset by.
That's federal things.
Yeah, and unless something's like broken and we need to, work with them specifically on something just typical wear and tear and things like that, would be covered by the rental fee.
Any other questions? Thank you. All right, Dr. Williams is gonna cover the lease agreement for the Butler Center.
Yeah, if you recall, we had a agreement with the Butler Center and the renovations that happened there to use that space. And the original lease agreement ran through the ESSER window, which actually ended back in September. And I've been working with Kay Laws, who oversees the program. And she took this to her board to have a conversation about a lease agreement that we have. And years ago, when we started all of this, the conversation was, how do we go beyond that window that was there? And you will notice, let's get past it once more. There's a lease amount here. So $30,000 a year is what it would cost us. Basically, what we said is, how much would it cost us for the typical utilities and everything else that goes along with it. So they kind of been keeping track of that and the increase over the last few years, because originally there was enough to cover that cost. But now you're looking at $3,000 a month or $2,500 a month for us to use that facility. So our Hall County Family Connections house there, and once Boys and Girls Club moves out at the end of February, March in that area, then we'll be able to use it for more after school programs, weekend programs. That was the original intent of that agreement. And we would need a vote on this.
Any questions, Dr. Williams?
Well, and so now that $2,500 a month, that's coming out of just general operating.
Yes. So Mr. Niles has a rental line item on there that should just come out of that. So we would make that adjustment in the budget for next year.
What's the term?
It was through, I think I read it, September of next year, and this year.
So it would be a 1-year agreement, and if there are no changes from 1 year to the next, we would just put it on consent in the future. If there are no changes, if the amount goes up, then we'll bring it back to you. If it goes down or stays the same, we'll just put it out in the future.
Any other questions? Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
All right, there's a motion by Mr. Pettit to approve the lease,
Second.
second by Mr. Young. All those in favor? Motion carries. Any discussion items? All right, we have a motion to adjourn and keep training. We're committed to that.
Yeah, just go with the train.
Second.
Motion by Dr. Rand,
Second.
second by Mr. Young. All those in favor? Thank y'all for coming. We told you to be short.
That's crazy. I thought we were doing that section.
You can stay till 8:30 if you like. That's entirely up to you.
Thank y'all for coming.